Broadcasting from the Squad Car 37 studio. I'm your host and stunt guitarist, JP. You're tuned in to the Squad Car 37 show. The Squad Car 37 show is a series where we meet musicians and creators to discuss tips, tools, and the creative process. Today we chat music production with Randy Kohrs of slackkeystudio and Luke Rice of Morgan Wallen and Mechanics Wanted. The Squad Car 37 show.
Squad Car 37, what's your 20? I'm on the scene.
Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to the Squad Car 37 show.
How's it going, man?
Howdy. Thanks for having us.
It is my pleasure. Hey, you know what? I recognize that background. Randy, can you tell us where you both are right now?
Yeah, we're in the control room of slackkeystudio, which is my own personal recording studio. It's a 5 ISO booth studio with a whole lot of vintage gear and a whole lot of very modern gear. A lot of it prototypes and things that's not even out on the market just yet.
Is there any way you could show us some of those key pieces around you in your control room?
Yeah, sure. There's some of my 500 rigs and Chandler gear, some vintage stuff from Collins. There's a 411 Volume Max that has been completely hot rodded by David Kulka of Studio Electronics. Below it is an Ingram 2-channel preamp that's absolutely kick-ass. There's my whole RTZ 500 series rig. That's mostly when I'm tracking bluegrass stuff. I'll primarily use that. If I'm tracking bigger track count stuff, it's usually kind of my drum rig. And around the room, you'll see LA2As and lots of messy patch bay cables, CMC controllers when I need them, some great river gear, some vintage Ampex 601 and 600 series stuff hanging out back there, Demeter verbs and things like that. And the other side, even more 500 series stuff. This is a smart AV console. Lots of odds and ends, vintage RCA compressors and old Uri compressors. Couple pieces of gear out for repair and recapping and stuff right now. But some vintage Ampex gear, and there's an old Fisher reverb at the bottom, and early 500 series stuff, pre-API stuff, and then in the more modern thing, there's a BG2 from Highland Dynamics and new Zener limiter and RS 124s from Chandler, and I use the hell out of all of those. They're really some of my prime real estate in here.
I'm recognizing what you're showing me that I've seen in digital plugins, right? You're showing me the real good stuff, right?
Yeah. And I'm a firm believer. It's like, no, they're doing a great job of modeling and doing things these days, but a copy is a copy, and the real thing's the real thing, and I can hear it. The gear that really requires a lot of tubes and transformers and stuff, it's pretty hard to model that. And while they can kind of get a pseudo sound, it is kind of one-dimensional to me. It doesn't have that atmosphere and that openness and the boldness. And I really notice it when you like push things to extremes. Like plugins will sound really good up to a point, and then if you try to push them like you would a piece of analog gear, they fall down.
They just don't react the same.
Right.
It's like heaven. Like I'm seeing a window into heaven, and I know Luke is probably thinking the same thing too, because he is a producer and an engineer and so forth. If there was a desert island and you only had a handful, maybe 3 pieces of gear that you had to take, and you still had, a way to record, what would those bits be?
Well, I have some modified microphones that I really like. I have some stock microphones that are real contenders. As far as preamps, my RTZs would definitely, my RTZ 9762A and the EQ, which is a Calrec reproduction, and it's called the PEQ 1549. Both of those pieces of gear are just like, boy, I don't know. I don't know that I want to track or mix without them at this point. And I have 12 channels of the RTZ, and I have 6 channels of their EQ, and I hope to get more soon.
So those preamps, what do you love running through them? Obviously, you're running microphones, but what do you record best through them?
Well, man, they have an amazing DI for bass and things too. But if you put a microphone on a mandolin or acoustic guitar or a dobro or a snare drum or something, it gives you exactly what's going on there. And you can really push that input stage if you really want it to be bold and kind of angry. And there's not much that I can't do with them.
So, Randy, what's awesome is you've got all of this analog gear that allows you to capture the warmth and the accuracy and of the recording, and then you're fully digital as well.
Yeah, I do. I run Steinberg products. Steinberg Cubase is my main go-to DAW, and I got literally hundreds of plugins at this point from virtually every manufacturer under the sun. A lot of people, though, once they do that, and then once they hear the real gear, they're like, "Man, can we print that through the RS-124s?" And that, like, one thing turns into 20, because they finally understand and they finally hear it. And a lot of people don't have the luxury of being able to put their hands on a especially a CL1B, which is now, I was looking online yesterday, and it's like the price of a CL1B is more than twice what I gave for mine.
Randy, you're a Grammy-winning music producer and recording engineer. You've toured with numerous country legends and played on countless records as a session musician. Who were some of the standout artists that you've worked with, and why?
Well, certainly, Dolly has been a giant influence on me just with everything she's always done. I admired her business acumen. I don't know. I have a giant respect for her. So getting to do a couple tours with her, and I think I'm on 6 or maybe 7 of her records at this point, and she's guested on mine. We did a duet called "It Looked Good on Paper" that absolutely years ago, and I absolutely love that song. And speaking of Carl Jackson, him and Pam Tillis wrote that song. It could be the craziest thing. I could be on tour with whoever in Europe, and I'll walk into a pub and I'll sit down and I'll start looking around, and to my right will be a poster of Dolly on the wall or something that I didn't notice when like, she's so worldwide that you forget about it until you're in some obscure place, and then it's like you realize, wow, she is literally the female Elvis. Jim Lauderdale's cut 7 records here, and I've been on those 7 and a couple 3 others 4 maybe.
Wasn't it one of Jim's work that got you the Grammy? Is that right?
Yeah. 5 of Jim's records were nominated in the top 5, and we were so close to landing it, and then finally landed one.
How did that feel when you got the notification that you're a Grammy award-winning artist?
It certainly is a thrilling thing. I don't base a lot of what I do on awards and things. I've never seen an award fill my refrigerator or pay my mortgage, really. So, I only give them so much value in that regard. I mean, it's certainly nice, and you can use that, in publicity and what have you.
So, Luke, why do they call you the cowboy?
I graduated high school and moved down to South Florida, and I was actually going to school for computer engineering. And I remember I woke up one morning and went out on the couch, and I told my mom, I was like, I don't want to go to school today. And she was like, why? Do you not feel good? And I was like, no, I just don't think I want to go back. And she was like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I really just want to play music. And she was like, it's about time. And I was like,
wow.
Okay. So I dropped all my classes the next day and started a band down there. Then I met this guy by the name of Sergio Sanchez. He was the lead singer for this band, Atom Smash. There was just something about it. We just became best friends just like that. And a position opened up in Atom Smash, and he wanted me to fill it. I jumped at the opportunity, and it honestly changed my life. I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for Serge. We had a initiation party, if you will. And I show up wearing cowboy boots and a cowboy hat because why not? But we're in downtown Miami, And they were like, who's this cowboy walking in here? For him, it was just, from that point on, it was cowboy. And he just started introducing me as cowboy on stage. And it's been that ever since. I've just been cowboy.
I love it. That's such a cool story. And in fact, I first became aware of your music with Atom Smash, actually from my brother, who's a couple years younger than me, and he got me introduced. And what a awesome rock band. You guys had a killer hit with the song Do Her Wrong, right? You got a ton of radio play. So you were signed to a record label, Jive Records. Didn't this lead to your other two current projects, right?
I was in Atom Smash, and kind of the rock industry just kind of died. The stations started shutting down one after the other, or they kept playing rock music but switched it to classic rock.
Right.
And so, radio died out, and we were like, yeah, I guess we'll take a little break. As we were on our hiatus, Sergio moved to Knoxville, and he was doing vocal lessons and guitar lessons and songwriting stuff in Knoxville. He calls me up one day, and he's like, I think I just met a star.
Wow.
I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, so there's this guy, his name's Morgan Wallen, and his mom called me from the Craigslist ad that I had up wanting to get him vocal lessons. And he just came over. I have voice memos. I'm going to send them to you right when we get off the phone. Like, my mind is blown. I remember sitting on my couch listening to these voice memos of them two just sitting in a room, playing acoustic guitars and singing. And I was like, who is this guy? So I called him back right afterwards, and I was like, I don't know what your idea is. I don't know what you want to do, but that guy's got something, and I'm in. We all moved to Nashville, and 3 months after that, he signed with Big Loud. And since then, it's just been this whirlwind of, just go, go, go.
First of all, Morgan Wallen, the band, the music, the hits just keep coming. The latest record had close to 30 songs on it?
30 songs, yeah.
Yeah, 30 songs on it. And they're all fantastic. And then I saw a post recently from Morgan where he's just playing an acoustic guitar about a song he wrote about his mother. And I'm getting chicken skin just in his living room, playing, getting chicken skin, getting choked up, thinking about my own mother. And I think Randy, when I met you the first time, you made a comment about you make them cry, you make them buy. And I thought, man, that is it.
Country western song, there's that. The perfect bluegrass song, somebody's got to die.
Well, it's funny if you think of every successful Walt Disney film, there was a death. Bambi, Bambi's mother died. Like every film, somebody dies. Luke, tell us about your most recent trip to New York and why you were there and what you were doing.
Yeah, so we got to mark something off the bucket list. We flew up to New York and got to play Saturday Night Live, and it was, man, I've had some rushes before, but that was just a different level. It was incredible. I still look back at it, and it's just kind of surreal. Just thinking about it, it's like, man, did that really just happened? Like, was I just on that? Like.
What were you feeling when you're on stage playing Seven Summers and still going down on Saturday Night Live? What was going through your head?
Man, I was thinking about Chris Farley. I was thinking about like all those, those great skits that I watched growing up, and thinking back to the musical guests that I've watched on there before, and that stage. And it was just like, man, like, okay, all right. This is real.
Yeah, unbelievable. So Mechanics Wanted, right?
Yeah.
By the way, those tracks are killer.
Thank you, man.
As a guitar player, it's like right up my alley. The production work on that is fantastic.
Thank you.
Heartless is your first single, and these are cover tunes. These are reimagined other songs, and so you took Heartless, which is on its own a banger, and you made it a headbanger, right?
Yeah, I guess we did.
This track is amazing. Then you took Ariana Grande's Positions,
Yeah.
which is a pretty gnarly song. It gave it a groove, and is it Ashlyn Kraft who's on the vocals there?
Yes, it is. Incredible singer.
She is outstanding and perfect for that. And Monsters, let me just say, first of all, the mix is awesome. The intro low toms on that low tom hit in the intro, it's like just makes you can feel it through the speakers. It's incredible, super cool, very subby, very low, and then you dial it back, and then the guitar, I love it. Guitar solo. There's a guitar solo in it, and it's got the whammy pedal.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
tell us about the name of the Mechanics Wanted. It's got an interesting story. How did you decide on that name?
We were in the middle of the Midwest somewhere, I think, and we had a day off, and somebody was like, hey, why don't we like record something? Let's just go back to the back lounge, just do something. And then I think it was Taco actually was like, why don't we make like a metal cover of something? Then I think it was Dominic actually chimed up and was like, let's do a Morgan song. Like, perfect. So we recorded the demo just on the back of the bus. When we got back to Nashville, you know, we went ham on the thing and recorded drums at the house. And after it was all finished and done and ready to go, we were like, well, let's do a video for it. And so we kind of rallied the troops and got ready for that. And then we were like, okay, we need a name. What is the name of this thing going to be? And somebody was like, man, like, we're Morgan's band. Everybody's going to know we're Morgan's band. Why don't we just kind of play off that a little bit? And Morgan has the MW thing. So we were like, why not us be MW too? You know, like, why not? Starting about 2 years ago, we started wearing mechanic shirts on stage. And it was just kind of like a thing, you know, they've got our names on them, and it's a look. It's definitely a look. Love it on it.
I worked in a body shop for years. I did everything that I could do not to put one of those shirts on.
Yeah, it's a very cool name, great music, and I can't wait to hear. Yeah, very memorable. I can't wait to hear more. And so, Luke, what role do you play outside of playing, outside of coming up with the concepts and the direction? Are you also on the production side of all those songs as well?
Every song has gone just a little bit different. So the guy who films all of it, his name's David Lair. He does all of our music videos and stuff. He's helped and assisted in some of the mixing and some of the recording process on the first two. So on Heartless, he had Dominic come over to his house and he recorded the vocals. I still did everything instrumental. I recorded all of that and mixed it all at the house, and he recorded all the vocals at his house for that one. You know, it was just kind of to take some of the load off for me, and he's got a really good ear too. He's an incredible not only photographer but producer as well. Then the second one on Positions, I actually had the entire track recorded and done minus drums before I even let anybody hear it. I played all the guitars and bass and everything on that and programmed all the first drums. And then we did something very similar with vocals on that one where David recorded them and mixed the vocal and I mixed everything else. But Ashlyn's vocal, I did. But Monsters, that one, I did all of it. I recorded it, produced it, engineered it, and mastered it.
It's so funny you say that because I have the notes of those songs and kind of different things that caught my attention and ear on each one of them. And the first thing I wrote down on Monsters was the mix is so good. Love those low tops. That's cool. We probably have a similar ear for what we like to hear there. Randy, I'm going to brag on you for a minute. Tell a story about the first time we met and the way you helped me out and made me look like a superstar. So, Randy, I don't know if you remember this, but you and I met. It was like 2016. I was going to Nashville for the first time to be part of the Blackbird Academy's Dave Pensado workshop, and there was a gear expo at Vintage King the day before. And I show up, I don't know a single person. And somehow I bumped into you and you were so nice. And I said, Randy, I don't know anybody here. I don't even have a single friend in Nashville. And you said, well, you do now. And I was like, man, this guy is so cool. You fixed that. And you said you had a studio, and then somehow I nicely invited myself over to your studio one night after a session with Dave, and you gave me the lowdown. You showed me all of your gear. You played for me. We haven't even really talked about your slack key playing. You're incredible. We talk about chicken skin. Hearing you play, and those who haven't checked you out on Instagram or on YouTube, man, your videos are incredible. You are a superstar when it comes to that. You gave me this little tip, and it was just like in a brief conversation. You said, yeah, when I'm working on vocals, I like to EQ the reverb so that I can create a harmony. And I was like, yeah. I was like, wait a second, what did you say? So you explained this to me. So the next day I go into class. Now it's Dave Pensato. We're in that room in Blackbird Studios with all the, if you've been there, you'll recognize it. I forget the name of it, but it's got all those like dowel rods sticking through. It's kind of this wooden paneled thing. So he just happens, Randy, he just happens to be talking about how he mixes vocals. So here I am in the back of the room. I go, oh, Dave, I've got a recommendation. And so he turns around and goes, okay, what is it? I said, what if we EQ'd the reverb and we increased the areas of the pitch so that it's in harmony with the main vocal track? And everybody's like, who is this guy and why is he talking? and so Dave goes, okay, let's give it a shot. And so I pulled out, I have a little app. It's called Music Math. And it's great because you can find the frequencies for every note there is. Right. So I said, Dave, this song is in the key of E major. So let's boost a third. And he said, what about a fifth? And I said, in my experience, Dave, thirds are much more pleasing for harmonies than fifths. I can't believe I even said it. So he said, okay, let's do it. So he boosted the G sharp frequencies, which was like 415 and 830. And it was in the reverb, right? EQs, he boosted them in the reverb. And we played the reverb along with the vocal and he soloed them. And it was the most beautiful reverb in the background of this vocal. And everybody in the room, have you ever seen The Christmas Story when he's dreaming that his teacher is giving him A++++? That was me. And it was all because of your tip. So I have to thank you for that, Randy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah. And a lot of times with different reverbs, depending on, what you've got going in the mix and stuff, just taking out some of the reverb that's in those areas that are that the reverb wants to ring a C sharp and you're in the key of C. All right, find that. And I have this. I'm going to swivel the iPad around. I have this on my screen right now. I don't know if you can see it or not. I will pull that up when I'm working on things. You can do quick math in your head. If you're in the key of A, it's 440, 220, but when you're in E flat, it's like, and so I'll pull that out really quick, and I will often EQ toms, and I will find whatever the fundamental note is, and I'll duck each like EQ on each side of a tom just so that it's ringing, notes that aren't clashing with the key of the song. And
brilliant. This next segment is right in line with that. So it's something I call best picks. Best picks. Best picks. Best picks. So it's a segment where I say a song mix element, and you quickly share your best pick for what piece of gear or plugin you'd use on it. Vocals.
Go ahead.
1176.
RTZ preamp, RTZ EQ, RS-124 compressor.
Bass and kick drum separation.
Ooh, subtracted EQing, notching stuff out.
The number one thing about both of those is making sure there isn't a lot of sub information that is right in the way of a baritone male lead vocal or something like that. I'm going to get out of the way there first.
Okay, here's one super heavy guitar sound.
Ooh. Neural DSP, baby, all day, every
Neural
day.
DSP. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
That's my go-to for recording all the Mechanics Wanted stuff. They've went out and modeled some really incredible guitar amps, and since I record on the bus so often too, it's nice to be able to just plug in, record a DI sound,
And get consistent sounds.
and get consistency, but also be able to like hop around and try different ones. You know, a Fortin amp, you know, like that, and then hop over to one they made for the guy who plays for the Fearless Flyers, and they're all beautiful crystal.
Corey Wong.
Yeah.
I need to set aside a few more sessions with you guys so I can distill some more of this knowledge. There's so much, and I really, really appreciate you making time today. I appreciate all of the insights. It's so fun to talk to other music friends, even if we're not in the same place, but virtually. So thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you, and thank you
Honor
for
to be called.
introducing us.
We're gonna have to do some recording now.
Oh yeah.
You may have just started something very dangerous.
The Squad Car 37 Show.
Squad Car 37, what's your 20? I'm on the scene.